For it to take a year, it'll have to be like one super epic logo. Like almost a mini game logo. Yeah. Yeah. So you gotta wash your hands. Have you had your cheese back? Well, since what you ate your sandwich, was it turkey and cheese? You can have it. That's fine. That's fine. Is that your British impersonation?
What?
He sounded very British when he did that. Oh, yo, let's go.
Guys, that's guys.
All right. All right, by this Bible. Many signs and wonders were performed by the apostles among the people. They were all together in Solomon's porch. That's part of the temple, by the way, Solomon's porch. While none of the others dared to join them, though the people spoke highly of them, but more people, a crowd, both the men and women, believed in the Lord and were added to their number. They used to bring the sick into the streets and place them on beds and mats so that at least Peter's shadow might fall on them as he went by. Crowds gathered from the towns around Jerusalem, bringing people who were sick or infested with unclean spirits. All of them were cured. So people are now gathering around at the temple. Jesus working through Peter, people getting healed. Mm-hmm. Now the man who like denied Jesus, like, is now like part of the spearheaded movement. What part's this? Imagine you are the manager of a great concert hall or opera house, the Metropolitan in New York, say, or the yeah. So imagine you're the manager. So now, like, imagine, like, you know what a concert hall and opera house is? It's a place where they do music. Here, look at it. So here we go. Imagine you're a manager of this building, okay, where they put on shows.
Oh wow, that's big.
Yeah. Now imagine, part of it. Imagine you're a manager. That's what he's saying. For generations now, this has been the place to which concert goers have flocked in their thousands, week after week, year after year. All the glittering international stars have played and sung here. So it's like, oh, he's going, like, you know, the musicals that your family goes see. Like, this is a place where people go see them. Every performance, every musical, like Hamilton, is reported in the national press. A grateful public subscribes for whole seasons of concerts all at once. And then... Huh? Oh, yeah. So then now, like, remember, you're the manager of this place. Huge. You conduct shows. And then, quite suddenly, in the middle of your busy season, a small informal group begins to perform day after day and night after night right outside the main door of the concert hall. It's a motley collection of musicians, and they're playing a strange mixture of ancient classical music and rowdy new songs, sometimes putting them together in an unprecedented fashion. So now, you're the manager of the concert hall, and then this ragtag group starts like playing like shows and music right in front of the hall. Well, you think people come and people go. Strange things happen. There's probably no harm in it. But then you realize that a lot of the people who ought to be coming into the concert hall are coming to see and hear this little ragtag group of musicians. Crowds gather and stay outside listening to the new music rather than coming inside to hear the advertised program. And soon the leaders of the new band become well known. People are talking about them and writing newspaper articles about them, rather than paying attention to the proper stars. Now, as manager, you become seriously worried. Perhaps it's time to call the police and to have them moved on, or even arrested for disturbing the peace. And now we see why it was that things began to escalate in Jerusalem in the days and weeks after Pentecost. It might not have mattered so much if Peter, John, and the rest had met, and drawn crowds far away, in Galilee, say, or out in one of the villages. Take a quick drink of my broth. When Jesus had done that, he caught people's attentions all right. But he was able to establish a large following without the Jerusalem authorities worrying particularly about it. The Pharisees who did keep checking up on Jesus in Galilee were not the official authorities. They were a self-appointed pressure group. So, again, like in that scene, you're imagining you were the manager of the place where all the music was played. Everyone went there. It was the stuff. You were the coordinator of the stars. But then this ragtag group outside of the place started bringing in the crowds. Then you might want to like do something to like change that. Bring back your power. But Peter and the others were continuing to meet in one of the great porches of the temple. To understand this, you need to remember that the Temple of Jerusalem was not a single building, like a great church or cathedral. It was more like an entire area of the city, covering dozens of acres, walled off and with several gates and porches. There were trees and shrubs and various buildings, houses where the priests on duty would lodge during their days of service, and, in the middle, the temple proper, with a sequence of courts leading in towards the Holy of Holies. So the apostles had taken up the habit of worshiping. Oh man, this broth is really nice right now. Like broth noodles. My throat is all jacked up right now. The hot broth is really nice. Is that maybe doing crops for sale?
Yeah.
So like they're saying, so the temple, Charlie, it wasn't like just a big building like a church is. Think of it like a campground, the size of a campground. And then there is the middle temple, there is the middle Holy of Holies, but you can gather in or around that temple campground. And so in this temple campground, like Peter is preaching and drawing a crowd, and the apostles. So the apostles had taken up the habit of worshiping in the temple and then staying around beside one of the porches, where there would be plenty of room for crowds to gather around them. The crowds were coming as they came to Jesus for healing, but of course for teaching as well. And we will be right to assume that the teaching continued down the lines of Peter's opening address in Acts 2. Drawing together the ancient scriptures... Are you sure, Tooth McGee?
It smells like spaghetti.
What kind of spaghetti are you eating where it smells like farts? Fart spaghetti? Alright. And it would be right to assume that the teaching continued down the lines of Peter's opening address in Acts 2. Drawing together the ancient scriptures, not least the Psalms and the prophets, and the extraordinary new events concerning Jesus. This was, as we say, in your face, as far as the authorities were concerned. As with Jesus' ministry, so with his followers. The healings were not simply a matter of providing urgent medical care for people who needed it, though that was, of course, unfolding within the larger purpose. It was a matter of God's power going out and doing new things, a work of new creation, in deep continuity with the original creation, and indeed mending bodies and lives within that original creation, but demonstrating By its power and character, something new was afoot. Something in the light of which believing in Jesus' resurrection didn't seem such a strange thing after all. So, at the Garden of Eden, right? That was the original intent. Like, sickness will never enter the body. And so, literally, they're tapping into the original purpose of there not being sickness by providing temporal mending for the hope of future resurrection. I will remember a conversation with a leading biblical scholar much older than myself, who told me that for most of his career he accepted the view that the resurrection was, basically, an event that happened within the minds and hearts of the disciples rather than something that happened to the body of Jesus. Until, in his own family and his own body, he had experienced remarkable healing as an answer to the prayers of the church. Suddenly it dawned on him that maybe God really was not only interested in restoring creation, but actually capable of doing it. That is sometimes how it works. And it's like healing is a signpost. It points to the future of back to where Eden, heaven and earth were together. Yeah, well, it's like we get moments of heaven and earth touching earth and healing bodies. It's a very light ceiling.
Good job.
And where new power is at work. Even if it's a result and a matter for celebration, who could resist people being healed, we may ask? Then those who currently hold power are bound to be alarmed. Consider the reaction in the mainstream medical profession to the rise in our day of alternative therapies, and imagine how a great modern hospital will react if a client of a clinic offering a quite different style of treatment opened up right outside its front door. One of the peculiar things about both Jesus' healing and those of the apostles is the way in which, at certain times and places, things seem to happen which don't happen anywhere else. I have no idea why it might be that in Jerusalem. At that time, Peter's shadow falling on people might cause them to be healed, and why we don't hear any more about that kind of thing. Just as I have no idea why it should be that in Ephesus later in the story, handkerchiefs were taken from Paul's body and laid on the sick to make them well, which again doesn't seem to have happened anywhere else. There's always a strange unknown quality about God's healing. In our democratic age, we tend to suppose that if God is going to do anything at all, it would only be fair that he will do it all the same for everybody. But things just don't seem to work like that. I have no idea if it comes to that why in a few chapters' time James is killed and Peter escapes. All of that is part of the mystery of living at the overlap between the present age, with its griefs and sorrows and decay and death, in the age to come, with its new life and energy and restorative powers. I don't think it has anything much to do with the devotion or holiness of those involved. In the apostolic age, they seem simply to have accepted that God can do whatever he pleases, and that when people pray and trust him, he will often do much more than we dare to imagine, while accepting also that frequently things don't work out as we would like, that people still get sick and die. Nobody imagined that the healing offered by Peter any more than that offered by Jesus made people immortal, and that many sad and tragic things continue to happen for which we have no particular explanation. So, like, we generally think in fairness, right? Like, if Yahweh was working through Peter and them, and this time, we'll think that way, like Peter's shadow was healing people. Later on, Paul's handkerchief, Paul's tissue will be like people bring to the people sick and healed. And so we'll think like, okay, that should happen today. And there might be some places where that does happen, but that's just, well, actually there is a lot of healings that happen today. But we, like, It is not a matter of sort of piety, like we do cling to Jesus for healing, but we also know that Jesus works how he works. Because later on, James is going to get killed. And yet Peter is still alive, like in the script, like in scripture time. So it's like Yahweh just works out in different ways during this present age and the age to come. Thus, the fact that so many people come in Jerusalem being cured was not simply a matter of a sudden burst of healing energy. It was about, and everyone there knew it was about, the establishment. Just let me know when you're ready, friend. Thus, the fact that so many people come in Jerusalem being cured was not simply a matter of a sudden burst of healing energy. It was about, and everyone there knew it was about, the establishment of a new reality in a dangerous place. The power of the living God becoming concrete, definitive, undeniable, and not simply a matter of a few people telling a very strange story and behaving from time to time as if they were drunk. It is when the church, through prayer and wisdom and often in the teeth of opposition, acts with decisive power in the real world, to build and run a successful school, or medical clinic, to free slaves or remit debts, to establish a housing project for those who can't afford local rent, or a local credit union for those ashamed to go into a bank, to enable drug users and pushers to kick the habit and the lifestyle, to see hardened and violent criminals transformed by God's love. That people will take the message of Jesus seriously. Of course, there will then be opposition because we shall be invading territory that is currently under alternative occupation. But God's power will be at work and people will know it. The words of this life. Then the high priest got up, and all who were with him, namely the group called the Sadducees. They were filled with righteous indignation, and seized the apostles and put them in the public jail. But an angel of the Lord came in the night, opened the prison doors, and brought them out. Go and take your stand in the temple, he said, and speak all the words of this life to the people. When they heard this, they went in at early morning and began to teach. When the high priest arrived with his entourage, they called the official assembly and all the elders of the children of Israel, and they sent to the prison to have the apostles brought in. But when the attendants went, they didn't find them in the prison, so they came and reported back. We found the jail shut up with maximum security, they said, and the guards were staying in front of the doors. But when we opened up, we found nobody inside. When he heard these words, the commander of the temple police and the chief priest were at a loss about them, with no idea what had happened. But then someone came with a message for them. Look, he said, the men you put in prison are staying in the temple and teaching the people. Then the commander went with his attendant and brought them. They didn't use force, though, because they were afraid that the people might stone them. So the temple hierarchy are now angry about all the work they're doing.
Good.
Yeah, send them prison.
Okay, good. Stop. You're in there.
Then
Yeah, you're in.
and then like the angel of Yahweh comes and set them free.
But then, like, whenever the teacher yeah.
When our second child was born, we had decided on names. When our second child was born, we had decided on names. If it was a boy, it would be Oliver. If it was a girl, it would be Emily. Well, it was a girl. We got her Oliver later, but when we looked at her, we both knew she wasn't Emily. Who was she? Puzzled, we racked our brains. What's she called? Asked the nurse as we went back to the ward. We don't know, we replied. We'll tell you in a while. We sat there with this little scrap in her cot and went right back through our long list, alphabetically. When we arrived at the RS, we knew who she was. It didn't feel as though we were making something up. It was more as if we were discovering something that was already true. Rosamund. A beautiful name for a beautiful young lady. Sometimes when people want to give a name to a new building or a new business company or even a new town, they have a competition. People sit around and think it out and come up with bright ideas. One of the fascinating things about Acts is that nobody knew what to call the new movement. Even the angels seem to have had trouble with it. It wasn't called Christianity for quite some time now. Indeed, it's only in chapter 11, when the movement has reached some non-Jews up north in Syria, that anyone calls the followers of Jesus Christians. That is, Messiah people. Even so, there is still a bewildering variety of names and descriptions given not just to the apostles and their larger company, but to the movement itself. To the fact that something new was happening. Later on, we find it referred to as the Way. Here, for the only time, but significantly, it is referred to as this life. Go and stand in the temple, said the angel, and speak to the people all the words of this life. It's a strange way to put it, but we can see what was meant. What the apostles were doing was quite simply to live in a wholly new way. Nobody had lived like this before. That indeed was one of the extraordinary challenges which impended on people as the gospel set off around the wider world. This was a way of life, as we say, that people hadn't ever tried. In fact, nobody had ever imagined it. But of course, it wasn't just a way of life in the sense of a way of conducting your personal day-to-day living. Though it was that, a way which involved living as family with all those who shared your belief in Jesus. A way which involved a radically new attitude to property and particularly to the sacred symbol of the Holy Land. A way which meant that, though you would still worship in the temple, the center of your life before God came when you broke bread in individual houses, in remembrance and invocation of Jesus. It was all of that, but it was much more. It was a way of life in the sense that life itself had come to life in quite a new way. A force of life had broken through the normally absolute barrier of death, and had burst into the present world of decay and corruption as a new principle, a new possibility, a new power. And it was this life, of course, which was carrying the apostles along with it, like a strong wind driving sailing boats out across a wild sea. And this life had to be spoken as well as lived. Go and speak to all the people the words of this life. Of course, the words had to be rooted in the reality of the way the apostles were living, and the work of healing they were doing. But wordless symbols, however powerful, remain open to the variety of explanation. From the very beginning, the apostolic faith has been something that demands to be explained, that needs to be taught. There is much to say because people fill their heads with all kinds of half-truths or downright untruths. Things need to be spelled out carefully, step by step, who Jesus was and is, what God did through him, how it all draws to its head the long scriptural story of God's people, what it all meant in terms of the long-awaited kingdom of God. As we shall see in the next chapter, it was one of the two primary tasks to which the apostles were called, the other, of course, being prayer. People sometimes scoff at the wordiness of Christianity, and it is, of course, all too possible for people to go on and on about not very much. But without the words to guide it, faith wanders in the dark and can easily fall over a cliff. The angel didn't just get the apostles out of prison, they were giving specific instructions for an urgent continuing task. Go and speak to the people all the words of this life. We don't even know yet what to call it, but you got to get on and speak it. So, the angel frees them from prison, right? Then the angel then tells them, and it's right here, gives them this instruction. What was the instruction? Yeah, go to all the words of this life. So there is like a piece where you are doing restoration and helping the other, but you also got to speak it. So to work out the half-truths, work out false assumptions that build up in all our brains. And this was, of course, even more in your face as far as the authorities were concerned. We shouldn't be surprised, granted what had happened so far, and the provocative fact that the apostles were meeting in increasing numbers.
Fact.
Yeah. Literally on the doorstep of the temple, that the high priest and his aristocratic family and colleagues would regard the movement as a direct threat to the status, power, and importance. They would, of course, have said it differently. They would have said that it was a direct threat to the honor of God and the proper reverence for God's house, the temple. Luke uses a particular word to describe how they felt, a word which we need to unpack a bit. They were, he says, filled with righteous indignation. So you see that part? Like they're mad at them for preaching, and it says they actually filled with righteous indignation. What do you think that word means? Yeah, like they really felt like they were dishonoring God. The high priest. Yeah. The word I have translated that way is often simply expressed as zeal. But zeal to a first century Jew didn't just mean that it means to us. With us, it means a fervent, enthusiastic approach to whatever is going on. A baseball.
Sorry. It's actually Zell.
No, it's zeal.
And this is zealous. Zealous.
Well, it's zeal and then there's zealous. You're zealous. So, by itself it's zeal. And then there's zealous. Yeah. Here.
Zeal. Zealous.
See? Zeal, zealous. Like that, just changes. They were, he says, full of righteous indignation. The word I have translated that way is often simply expressed as zeal. But zeal to a first century Jew didn't just mean that it means to us. With us, it means a fervent, enthusiastic approach to whatever is going on. A baseball coach makes a zealous attempt to enthuse the team. A politician becomes very zealous for a particular reform that she is championing, and so on. But with first century Jews, zeal had a very specific meaning. It was zeal for the honor of God. When he cashed this out, it often meant zeal for the purity of the temple and the land. And particularly in the case of the Pharisees, as we shall see with Saul of Tarsus, it means zeal for the law. In other words, they were all aware that their God was a holy God, who had called Israel to be a specific people. A people gathered around the symbols of temple, land, law, and family identity. Anything that challenged those symbols was a challenge to God and had to be resisted zealously. Only if we grasp that, will we understand what is going on at this moment and in several later moments. So, there's a moment in the Old Testament where the people under Moses are just worshiping other gods. And so this guy named Phineas, who actually beats someone down. And so they were calling that zealous. And so for people not following the law, and then here's Phineas who beat someone up, he was considered zealous. And so that was what everyone here is trying to do. All the high priests, all the Pharisees, they're trying to be zealous for the law.
But God didn't want to beat them up.
Yeah, well, they're not getting it. They have a wrong interpretation. That is a wrong reason to be zealous.
They could even like, no.
Anything that challenged those symbols was a challenge to God. It had to be resisted zealously. Only if we grasp that will we understand what is going on at this moment and in several later moments. The present challenge was all about the power of the Sadducees and the chief priests. They had this power because they were the guardians of the central shrine, the holiest spot on earth. They could not simply allow the apostles to carry on the way they were doing. God's honor would be compromised. Israel would be led astray. Disaster might strike. These people had to be stopped. And so the authorities did their best. They had efficient police and secure jails. But one of the things we find in Acts is that there are no locked doors in the kingdom of God. This too is sometimes a real puzzle. Why does Paul languish in jail for 2 whole years when he ought to be on this way to Rome? And when God is capable of sending an angel and letting people free, this is the kind of mystery we have to get used to. It's so used pretending that because that's what ought to have happened, maybe nothing at all happened. No angel, no release, no puzzlement of guards. Another echo there, this time of Jesus on resurrection. That kind of dog in the manger theology won't get us anywhere. It reduces Acts and indeed the whole New Testament to a pile of irrelevant old mumbling. The apostles were teaching the words of this life. The authorities were increasingly worried that they were undermining the very fabric of Judaism as they had known it, and so were desperate to prevent them taking things any further. But as the next passage reveals, they were in danger of fighting, not against the human movement, but against God himself. Alright, we talked enough, you guys can hop right in.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
Real quickly. Finish the movie.
Ubiquitous. Oh, but I know dialogue. I want someone who doesn't die.
Safe food, okay? Obviously.
What should I buy as my other 8?
Was once
Oh.
a land of living legends. Long ago, brave warriors across the realm stood together
Bat duck.
against an immortal evil known as the Old Ones.
What the?
In the wake of this struggle, the champions locked away the power of the Old Ones inside Eternia crystals. Recently, the realm's heroes, called to a faraway crusade, have left their younger kin to tend the castle and its chores. Bored with their dreary duties, and imagining action and adventure, the pupils accidentally unleash an ancient force that has long been dormant. Now these heroes in training will have to grow up quickly. Together they will defend the Eternia crystals against those who would seek to resurrect the ancient evils.
Faster now.
No, Charlie, just walk. Just walk. Side.
Yeah.
Just it.
Let me escape. I can open my door.
Oh, it's over here. Why don't you just stay in my fast car so we're together? Okay, go on. Charlie, stay in my fast car. So. Power plant. Oh, that's what's opening.
That
Why is it right here? wanna really try to think. Wait, they patched the glitch? Bro, I need to heal. Hold up. Oh, I need to heal. Both have to have get the doing. Yeah. That hook.
You, my swing.
What level am I? Sorry. Go. You'll probably die. Yeah. Come on. Get my car. Die.
Well, this is when uranium, the price slowly decreases.
No. Don't you want to get? Don't you want to get the money?
I mean, you want to deposit the money first, Charlie, because the money is going to slowly drop until you deposit it, the value of it. I mean, like, wait till you deposit the money.
You too. Nick.
Send it. How far do I? Where do I go? So they messed up the map. Oh, it's literally right here.
I want to do an easy run.
With the evil
Pardon.
hordes defeated and the old ones safe.
They're all hard.
How far you playing this game, Nick?
Oh, it's under the bridge one. Game's open. Going there.
Yeah, I can tell they do it off. To make sure you do on the same difficulty for it to count that you have all the crystals.
Go back.
Wait. Bank opens, I'm gonna go there. So I'm gonna actually get the birdie, and I can try for you. Yeah, I know you do, but I'm so I can get the robbery.
Back in my tail, okay?
I'm at the bird.
Wait, take the bank.
I'll pick you up.
That was fun. Wait for me, okay?
Bro, I'll do it because you have to hide that. Needed supply. Go to the bank. Bank with me. Oh, go to the bank. No, there's turrets that will.
Okay.
Come on. Are you coming to the bank or no? Hurry up. Let's go in. Hurry up. Back up. Can't leave. No, just get in the bank. You don't have to get in the bank. That you don't have it. Get in the bank. I don't have money. Why is the bank up now?
I also don't have people trying to stop you.
Max double bag credit.
Okay, good.
One of my the casinos open, probably.
So if it's they could noob us when you're trying around the bank. Punch the gold. Break it.
Mm.
Okay?
I put the booster. Oh.
Get in my bird. Get in my bird. Oh, I keep thinking. Okay, we're. Oh,
What? Thank you.
oh.
Thank you.
This one's actually hard. You want to rob the casino? 1 second, I'm gonna go rob the gas station.
Point. Having
No,
a
I'm
perfect.
gonna save it for it. Like,
Don't have it.
Oh, they do fire damage. Well, that's
oh, how are you? I see you. Here, go. Get him on. Let's go to Tomb. Right here. Okay? People.
Oh, they're gonna keep on it.
No, you can't get your car out, though. Well, they won't let you.
Yeah.
no Sam Curse took fire damage. That was an overlook.
It won't work. Get in my car. Apparently I can play music on my car. What should I play? What?
Museum. Yeah.
You don't need that.
Oh yeah. No, I can hear it.
Okay, then. Girl? Oh, that's Marcial. Oh.
find this one. Fast is that roadster?
What?
How fast is the roadster?
It's going 100 miles. That's not even. Bank is open, so I can. Oh, into the alarm.
Yeah.
Bruh! Oh, you have to come back. Yeah, I'll tell you. What's the lose then? Okay, come in, quick. Don't die first.
Is that the museum? That one's very easy to die in.
Die again, and I'm gonna.
Careful of those circles.
Okay, go to the. Go to the. Not dead. I'm still close to. How's RP? Yeah. Go to diamond puzzle. About to die. Heal. Oh. Like, oh. Black hole. Oh. Oh. Love it. Go back.
Oh, yeah, a little jump pad there. That's nice. Wait, no, that's always been there. They just reamped it. Oh, Demon was a short. Shorty Spider-Man lady.
Done.
We're not gonna be using guns. Yep. Nothing realistic looking. And all the guns in there are realistic looking. But no, then if it prevents you from playing, you just can't play. I know, and I'm giving you an answer. Sorry if I sound angry.
The
That's
queen
just
and her kin fall to the might of Etheria's champions. The crystal shard slips from the queen's rotund belly and falls to the ground. With one crystal shard collected, the heroes look into the distance filled with hope, wonder, and intense anticipation for the adventures that await them as they search for the remaining pieces of the lost Eternia crystal.
Narrowly escaping a watery grave, our young heroes contemplate the challenge of reaching the skies above. Suddenly, a shadow appears above them, and the team prepares for an attack. The clouds part to reveal not an enemy, but the friendly face of the Tavern Keep. He stands at the helm of some sort of flying contraption. Landing on the broad back of the noble beast, the Tavern Keep beckons his best customers to get on board and hold tight. The aircraft climbs far into the sky, soaring through layers of clouds until the fabled dwelling of the Sky People comes into view. But wait, the beautiful city seems to be under attack by a goblin aerial assault force. The battleship opens fire on our heroes. As the bombardment rages on, the Tavern Keep tells his passengers to keep their heads down and begins evasive maneuvers.
Ay,
Shot after shot whizzes by as the Tavern Keep continues his daredevil approach. Miraculously, the plane reaches the city in the clouds intact. The Tavern Keep drops off the young heroes and takes off once more to avoid the Goblin barrage. Knowing that time is of the essence, the team quickly begins their search for the final Eternia Shard.
This is a pretty city. That's some great work they've done. Oh, that's funny. You pet this flying cat and he gives you gems. Buffs everywhere. Oops, now I think about it. The monk buffs are strong.
We have to continue to okay. Let's put out a flip through. Oh, I found it. Up here, 388.
sneaky one. Look at all these goblins flying. Oh, jumping, that's hilarious. I don't know why I find that so hilarious. Oh, is this Redux? Oh, this is official real person. This is Redux. Last I looked, they don't have a Redux on there. Must be the FPS caps. I'm noticing that it's hurting. There we go.
Oh.
Up on my mana. Oh, shoot. I will definitely fall off. There's my mana.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
wow.
right.
What were you thinking?
Get those.
Go on my minions.
Okay. Right in the vault. Whoa! Oh! Leave it. Oh, it's not clicking stuff there.
Oh.
What's up?
There you go, Charlie. Take that money in there.
Eh,
I'm
Oh,
losing
that a
now.
healer.
We have calls like this. Keep on. We had a time limit for how long the security was. I don't have the. I don't.
So I'm gonna have to be like a police officer. Get to get it from them, kind of thing. And first have to download though, Char. Yep. Nice. Install.
All again.
Yep. That's it. Oh, you can look at downloads right there to see. Yep. Wall archers.
Try to chase you down.
Oh. I don't remember. Well, I mean, unless you have a life straw, you should never be drinking puddles of water, even rainwater. Oh yeah. You have to clear it out.
I'll annoy you with the sounds.
You have brought out the rage of course. Well, you guys can move like it's the man in the man in the palace.
Wait, do you have any cards? Yeah. You have to get the UFO. Then you have to be.
Then you can't use a gun.
What? No, I just have to cookies. You have cookies.
Right. Gotta be focused. Me.
Hey, you're at that one. Please drop that.
Are you ready for this right here? Fucking yeah.
Drop which one's good. Go, go, go.
What? Let's do that, me.
What?
Let's do that, me.
Not out.
Go to an helicopter.
No, not. I got the UFO. So you can go change to now I'm gonna get a healing gun.
Wait, you get a healing gun?
Yeah.
Is that new?
It's always
You use it. Purpose of it is to literally heal.
First be a criminal though. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's not good.
Oh yeah, it's fast.
It's not that fast, but it's
What?
Oh, well,
Big.
of course I jump off.
come to the bank. Hold on.
Good now, big.
Oh.
500? Yeah. Sure. There we go.
Thank you. Oh, I hate this one. I'll fall in.
You do. Help.
Died? Ah. Why do you just rush through the laser? Do you think dog?
That was
This is frustrating.
because of that enemy.
What?
Yeah, I actually fell off. I'm doing on Ruthless because Ruthless there's less enemies, but they're stronger, and so it just makes the waves go by faster.
Are you just gonna sit there?
I don't know. It might just time out and he might instantly die, or I might just have to. Hoping it times out.
That's perfect.
Like, can you jump off my head, please? Get over there. Come on, dude. You can make it. I believe in you, Goblin. My water. Oh, there we go. There we set. But I'll just go to main and build daily strike towers for the rest of the points. Just build it out. They're just solid raw damage. No. Yeah. Let's say if a video game like starts off, either it starts off being realistic or it starts off not being realistic, and that game has realistic things about it, so we just won't chance it. I am a sword. You can use a sword if you need for like a mission thing, but nothing PvP related, because that game is all about PvP.
But what if it's just me? Man?
Even you two, we're definitely not. Still, even against you two, it always spirals out of control. I'm gonna say no. No. Yeah. Or alright, I'll do this back. I'll let this play. Yeah, I mean, you can use it for like deal with things with mission objectives, but no PvP.
Okay.
Yeah, you use it to take out turrets. That's fine.
What?
So you can use the lightning gun to take out turrets. Yeah. Or the plasma.
No.
You can use it to take out. No, absolutely no PvP. I have no idea.
Good, right?
No, that's like the worst idea.
Yeah. Let me take it.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
I'm not going to do it.
Oh, what? Oh,
Hey, Gabby. Walking. Working.
there. Knock it out.
Get the gun ready.
What?
Get the healing gun ready.
I need to go to open the glass.
Me? Did I do it? I do it.
Take that. How much swords would it give you?
Two.
2?
Yeah.
That makes this giant hole. Right. No, don't trust me to go to that one.
Oh, I do?
Oh, I'm literally 2 health.
Yeah. Shut up. I give you like 7 grand.
Not 70 grand.
Fox at 17, so I was like, boy, okay?
Oh.
Pega thing.
Like gold.
I can die.
Go Rob Yaki.
Okay. I'll do one of us, Robin.
Give me all your money so I can get closer to gold fight. Okay, like 20 minutes.
Both Robin.
Get there. I'll let you rob donut. I'll put that place further. Rob it. Back to the car.
Oh, where's this new path? Oh. Play this game.
Let's go to the door. Actually, let it do it already. But don't start the robbery.
Alright, so who's this big boss? Ooh, big ship. It's like a goblin, sorry. Oh, Tavern News out of here. They could not have died, alright.
Don't go again. Why? Don't think good.
Ew. Bro.
do anything. Oh shit. There. Did I hit it? Pop off it? Alright, moment. Oh gosh, bad decisions.
No.
Yeah. Jump on the ship.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm supposed to jump on it. That's what these golden ones are for. I just missed my jump. Yep. You're definitely supposed to hop on it. And my tires are not going to be able to. They don't reach that far. But after that heist, boys, it's break time.
Narrowly escaping a watery grave, our young hero.
You're a sim, my friend.
Then Charlie, you can arrest me. So you
All right. Proper barrier this time.
Yeah. Like,
All right. Okay, guys. Break time. After the heist. Be careful though, because I might prompt you to download Windows 11. Make sure you just don't click yes on everything, okay? So here, let me look at it. We're done with Windows 11. Oh, stay on Windows 10. So never.
why don't you want Windows 11?
It broke things last time. There we go. Okay, you can restart now if you want to. Those two are still downloading. But that's updates. That's not Windows 11. So we denied its Windows 11 rights.
Charlie,
that was
Charlie.
Those if you want to.
So next break, you should just be AFK and Roblox jailbreak because you get paychecks. Every like 10 minutes.
a long time.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah. Do you eat all your food? Is there anything else? You're like, this is just
You have
like
a
teasing.
fruit thing. You have a fruit cup and a cheese and what do you really want? All you got.
Right, you want to get right into the ring set? Okay. Human inventions and divine instructions. You just want to shake Smalley to show that you acknowledge. I just need. This part is. Alright, my friends, we're gonna be off right now, and I'll let you know when we're back on. Peace.